Hello, everybody. Alrighty then. Welcome to Mikestand. Today is Tuesday, July the 18th. Um, while we're waiting for some more people to show up, I'm going to go ahead, go off camera for a moment. I'll put some music on while I take care of a couple of things. And then when I come back, we'll probably go over what's on top for tonight, and then we will get going. So let me just set some stuff up here. I'll be right back. Alrighty then, so let me just do one more quick little thing and then we will go ahead and get started here. Let's see. Alrighty then, so getting back to this now, okay. Alright, so anyways, with all that, welcome again. We're now at the 2.5 minute mark. So basically, what's on tap for tonight? I'm going to only go over one article tonight. It's kind of a follow up to a story we've been following, some more drama surrounding the whole, One Piece Yamato question of whether, albeit it really shouldn't be a question anymore because I think as I've reported before, the creator of the character themselves, Mr. Oda, has definitively confirmed that Yamato is in fact a female, contrary to head canons of a few, mentally unbalanced, unstable individuals out there. And as always, guys, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything that we mentioned here tonight gets your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I'll do the best I can to answer those questions. So with that, and then of course after the article, we'll also go over the wrestling wrap up. Got some news coming out of WWE, AEW, and of course, Ring of Honor, as Ring of Honor has an event this Friday night. The Death Before Dishonor pay-per-view. We'll probably be looking at that a little bit. AEW's got, of course, Dynamite tomorrow night with a couple big events, and then getting caught up on some WWE news, including some stuff that happened on last night's Raw. So, and then of course this day in each history to round everything out. So, without any further ado, of course, why don't we go ahead and get started on the article here. All right, so here we go. And we're going to start a little earlier than expected. It's not quite the 5-minute mark yet, but Okay. With that, let's go ahead and all right. So let's get started here then. This article, of course. Anime YouTuber Rev says Desu receives false copyright strike from One Piece podcast co-host Steve Yurko after criticizing his attempt to push debunked transgender Yamato theory. So, just to kind of get you guys caught up on what's going on here, there's basically a belief by certain individuals in the Twitter community that Yamato, a character from One Piece, an Oni character or a demon character from One Piece, is a transgendered male as opposed to female. Now, if you've been watching the coverage here for either from myself or a few other commentators like Yellow Flash or Hero Hey or even Vera Dark, you know that Eiichiro Oda, who is of course the creator of One Piece, the creator of the character, has pretty much debunked that theory. Has claimed that Yamato is in fact a female. Even though what they have often argued is that since Yamato refers to themselves or self-identifies with male pronouns, therefore they must be a transgendered male. Even though there are certain aspects to why that is, like the fact is that Yamato was raised as a boy and Mala wanted to emulate her hero, Odin. So anyway, so article by Nerdigans published July 25th or 15th rather, 2023, which was past Saturday, anime censorship manga. So here we go with the article. So after getting blasted by fans for attempting to push the debunked theory that series heroine Yamato is transgender, One Piece podcast co-host and Rick and Morty storyboard artist Steve Yurko. So, mind you, already this guy's already kind of somebody that you can't be too sure of because, of course, some people might argue he's associating with Rick and Morty. Some of you may have heard some of the issues going on with one of the creators from that show. But anyways, has resorted to abusing YouTube's copyright system in order to strike back at his critics. And of course, this happens a lot, unfortunately. People will use the copyright strike system to kind of try to silence critics whenever anybody calls them out. Anybody calls out these people for their baloney, they'll try to claim, oh, you can't use that you can't use that clip, or you can't do this or that, or you can't use that picture because I have a copyright to it, So let's see how this story progressed here. As previously covered by Bounty in the Comics, Yurko provoked outrage among fans when he shared an original illustration on Twitter depicting Yamato in a shared men's bath, a recreation of a scene from the series Wano arc, wherein the heroine chooses to bathe with male characters instead of the female characters in order to better emulate her hero Kozuki Odin, which activists regularly point to as evidence of her transgender identity, rejecting her in smaller quotes here, smelly Beaver card, while Luffy cheers her on. Okay, so the one of the other pieces of evidence that they claim says she's transgendered is that she chooses to share a bath with men. She goes in the men's bath as opposed, even though she's clearly biologically a woman, creator of the series, and in essence, her creator, has even stated she's a female, not once but twice. Once on the V-Bear card, and more recently, when this whole debate started up again a couple months back. The reason for this call to, in small quote, reject the Beaver card, a collectible piece of merchandise bearing a character profile officially approved by series creator Ichiro Oda himself. So again, as I mentioned, Oda himself, these cards are approved by Oda. Oda, if he approves them, is basically saying, yes, everything on this card is true. So if the card is saying she is a female, and Oda is saying that everything on the card is true, then she is a female. Is the fact that it goes against online activists' personal headcanons by confirming that Yamato is an outright woman and not a transgender man. And of course, and just because a woman chooses to bathe with men doesn't make them a transgender male or masculine or anything like that. Granted, it may be also taken because I actually know a woman who prefers the company of the platonic company of men more. Okay, she has a lot more male friends than female friends, but doesn't mean that she's transgender. Doesn't mean that she's a lesbian. Doesn't mean anything like that. She's a married woman who I know prefers the platonic company of men. Okay, so, and there are women out there like that. Okay, there are women who have more male friends than they do female friends, and feel just as comfortable sitting around with a bunch of guys, conversing about guy stuff as doesn't mean that they're transgender, doesn't mean that they're lesbian or anything like that. Just means they're a woman who happens to like the platonic company of men. I believe is, look there. Clearly, she is not a transgendered male. She is biologically, she's confirmed as a female right there. Look at those breasts right there. You're still trying to say that she's a transgendered male, then you're an absolute idiot. Yeah. Hey, Shadowhawk. Thanks for popping in, my friend. Okay, so let's continue on here. Among the outraged was anime YouTuber Rev Says Desu. Desu, who shared his criticism of Yurko's piece in the form of a YouTube video titled "Imagine Wasting Your Talent Like This." Though Rev Says Desu's video was just one of the many to level critiques towards Yurko. And of course, mine has some criticism as well as we go through because there was a previous article talking about Yurko pushing the. It seems it struck an undesired chord with Yurko, as the podcast apparently responded to the YouTuber by filing a false copyright strike against his channel. I guess Yurko's video here is Oda is wrong. Okay. That statement in of itself is stupid in this context, because how can you be wrong about a character you create? Yurko sounds like an absolute moron for me just for having that headline. For having that Oda is wrong. How can Oda be wrong about a character he created? Okay, Steve Yurko is an absolute moron for that thought process. Sharing a screenshot of the YouTube auto-generated email informing him of the strike, Rev Says Desu informed the platform via his personal Twitter on June 11th that, quote, the At One Piece podcast and their co-host at Steve Yurko had filed a false copyright strike against my channel, unquote. Quote, in the video, I criticized their artwork that they posted publicly on Twitter, unquote, he explained. Quote, this strike is a clear abuse of the copyright system, unquote. So basically, it's a false copyright strike because I think what it is that since he's giving criticism on the artwork, therefore it falls under fair use. You know, when you critique something, when you like give some critique on it, some analysis on it, you know, it's fair use. Okay. Just because the originator of the piece that you're criticizing doesn't like your criticism doesn't give them the right to copyright strike you. You know. I'm allowed to criticize what you post publicly, unquote, the YouTuber further argued in defense of this video. Quote, horrible look from not only a fellow content creator, but an artist too, unquote. Mm-hmm. But some people could argue that Yurko's art, since he does and even if it's only partially, or even if it only comes up to here, well, he's showing a portion of Yamato's breast. Somebody could come along and say, well, the artwork is porn. When it's now, most intelligent people would know that that's not porn because, yes, it is true that her breasts are being exposed, but they're not being shown in as much a sexual manner, but just more of a normal everyday type manner. As a quote, also to add on to this, unquote, he continued, quote, there's an option to request a takedown of a video and not apply a strike. They went the extra step to add the strike. Petty behavior, I will fight it as far as I need to. Hopefully they do the smart thing and drop it, unquote. Yeah, that is again, you know, you can't copyright strike somebody for fair use. Providing an update on the situation just 40 minutes later, Rev Says Detsu asserted, quote, hopefully some action is taken, unquote. Quote, since my tweet went public, both accounts involved have either blocked me or gone private, unquote. The YouTuber further noted, quote, they have also removed their content info on their YouTube channel. It's very clear they know they abused the copyright system and are now hiding, unquote. Yet, in the end, Rev Says Detsu won out as the copyright strike was eventually removed by YouTube before the day was over. So that's good to hear. Good to hear that justice did prevail in that situation. Hopefully it prevail. Unless, of course, the Yurko decided to go back and try to get a strike reapplied somehow. Yeah, which wouldn't surprise me with what we've seen of this guy, I guess. So continuing on then, yet in okay, we read that part. Quote, uncommon YouTube W, unquote, he announced of the decision. Quote, YouTube intervened and denied their claim. The video is reinstated and the strike removed, unquote. Additionally, Rev Says Detsu claimed that, quote, in the process, I also learned the LLC they filed in brackets the claim under. I now know 100% that they don't have the licensing rights to sell their unofficial One Piece merch. So not only did they have a losing effort there, but they may be in trouble there. In other words, they don't have the licensing rights to sell merchandise. That's actually a violation. That's a copyright violation of itself. That Yurko and his podcast are doing, not Rev Says Desu. Putting a final cap on the saga of the false copyright strike, Rev Says Detsu ultimately explained to his followers, quote, also keep in mind they have the ability to refile as expressed in the email. So if they keep going, they are ignoring the fact that everyone knows they are abusing the copyright system. Hid behind blocks and privating of their accounts, all because they couldn't handle criticism, unquote. Alrighty then. So, yeah, and this has been a story that's been running for a while here. So let's see what time. Oh wow, 21 minutes. We might have enough time to. I guess I can go search for another story here. I guess. All right. So wasn't sure how long that would take me, but well, let's see here. Anything else that kind of grabs our attention here? The only reason I had planned on doing one story because I wasn't sure if, in doing that story, of course, if how long it was going to be. I was thinking with all the commentary I've been putting on these for these particular stories, might have been a little longer there. See, I don't really think anything here. Let's see now. Mm-hmm. I'm just looking for another. See if there's any other stories that we might. All right, nothing here. Let me go to Critical Blood. I haven't been there in a while to do a story. Let's see if there's anything there of interest. RJ's channel. See if there's anything there we can look up or anything like that. Yeah, June 27th, which is a few weeks ago. That was from over a year ago. That was from a few months back. We already covered that. So let's go over to Bleeding Fool then. All right, so let's see what we get here. All right. Well, actually, there is something here that kind of a follow up to something else that we were talking about a while back. So maybe I'll do this one here. So this one might be a good one to do. With the time given here. So we'll check this one out. No, that's not what I was trying for. All right. So Dynamite's new Red Sonja #1 comic slashes through soaring sales. All right. So recently we did do an article from Bleeding Full about the new Red Sonja series coming out, celebrating an anniversary, as it were. Um, Dynamite Entertainment, I believe, is a company that's um, doing the publication of it. So, article by John Pallister, published July 16th, which was this past Sunday. So, there's some interesting artwork there. All right, so Red Sonja is slashing right into her new 50th anniversary celebrating series on a high mark with impressive orders from fans and retailers. Due to excitement from readers and confident support from retail partners, the first issue has confirmed orders following, quote, final order cutoff, unquote, in excess of 72,000 copies. In anticipation of the enthusiastic advance reorders and more fans picking up the book in stores following release and word of mouth, Dynamite is currently set to initially print a total of over 85,000 copies. So, writer Torun Grönbeck, who also was a writer on Thor and Realm of X, and longtime franchise artist Walter Giovanni, are crafting an incredible tale for fans new and old, exploring Red Sonja on the run as she ruminates on everything that has gotten her to this point. In other words, ruminate means to think back, reflect on um, what her destiny holds and where she will venture next. With the kinetic art style of Giovanni and blazing action, it's a perfect encapsulation of the character's 5 decades of fun and a path forward. Here are some of the covers here, yes? Let's see. It's all wrapped with a bow nicely by a range of absolutely stunning covers by superstars like Shannon Mayer, Jim Chung, Jenny Frison, Kevin Eastman, Mike Mignola, Alan Qua, Brian Hitch, and more. Subsequent issues feature even more heavy hitters like Joshua Middleton, Frank Cho, Stephen Platt, Inhyuk Lee, and more to come. Retailers are able to place advanced reorders now, with more news coming surrounding San Diego Comic Con, which comes up, of course, at the end of this month. I think it's what, next weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend. Usually San Diego Comic Con is the last weekend of last weekend of July. Usually, you know, more fans are expected to turn their eyes toward the She Devil and want to follow her latest brand new adventures. Red Sonja #1 is in stores July 19th, everywhere comics are sold. All right, so let's see where we're at in time here now. We're coming up on the 30-minute mark, so maybe try to see if we can do one more story at least. Will this be Onion and Simmons launching Universal Monsters? All right, so here's another piece of release information here. I guess we'll take a look at here. This article, of course, is by Chris Braley, published today. Um, let's get into this now. All right. So Skybound Entertainment, the creator-led, fan-focused, multi-platform entertainment company, in partnership with Universal Products and Experiences, has announced Universal Monsters Dracula, a new four-issue comic book limited series from best-selling Eisner Award nominated team of James Tynion the Fourth, uh, World World Tree 33, Something is Killing the Children, and Martin Simmons' Swan Songs. The first issue will be available in comic book shops on Wednesday, October 25th, 2023. So 3 months away, basically 3.5 months away here. This collaboration between Skybound and Universal is the latest milestone in a near decade-long relationship that encompasses film and video games and now comic book publishing. And there it is right there. Interesting look there in the artwork. Quote, it's been an absolute thrill to watch the powerhouse duo behind the Department of Truth breathe new life into this legendary story, unquote, said Alex Antone, editorial director at Skybound Entertainment. Quote, perfect for both new fans and horror aficionados alike, the Universal monsters are as timeless as ever, unquote. The comic book miniseries will unfold over four suspenseful issues, with the first installment plunging readers into the eerie world of Dr. John Seward after he admits a seemingly delusional new patient to his asylum, recounting chilling tales of a demonic entity residing next door. The skeptical doctor attempts to rationalize the unexplainable, but his adopted daughter, Lucy, mysteriously succumbs to the malevolent influence of the enigmatic Count Dracula. Do 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 do. Here we go again. And it's tiny on the floor. That he's about to take a bite into her neck, isn't he? Let's see if anybody's made any comments on it. Nope, but I do have some. And as always, guys, if you haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and we'll try to answer the questions to the best of our ability. So, to the best of my ability, anyways. With that being said, let's continue on with the article here. Quote, a few times in my life, I've had the pleasure of writing about one of the great pop icons, but there is something singular about Dracula that made his opportunity too good to pass up, unquote, said James Tynion IV. Quote, the challenge in front of Martin and I is to take the bloody heart of the Universal Pictures classic and find a bold new way to bring the character to life. It's been one of the most exciting creative challenges of my life, and I am phenomenally excited for you to see the horrors we have in store for you. Unquote. Quote, Dracula has always been a horror favorite of mine, so to get the chance to work on an exciting new interpretation of the character alongside my Department of Truth co-creator, James Tynion IV, was one I couldn't pass up, unquote, said Martin Simmons. Quote, I'm so excited for readers to experience our version of Universal's classic monster, and I hope you enjoy the direction we take the story, unquote. In addition to Dracula himself, this series also features some popular characters from the original film, including R.M. Renfield, Nina Seward, Dr. John Stewart, Van Helsing, and more. Expect fresh twist, chilling encounters, and a dive into the dark corners of these timeless villains' narratives. Universal Monsters, Dracula will be followed by more limited series spotlighting the iconic monsters from some of the top creators in comics. Universal Monsters Dracula #1 will be available at comic book shops and digital platforms on Wednesday, October 25th, 2023. So right in time for Halloween, right? It's like a week before Halloween almost. A little under a week before Halloween. So right in time for the Halloween season, as it were. Alrighty then. So yeah, that's all the articles I guess I'll do tonight because I have been wanting to get it a little more under an hour, but so anyways, let's see. So we're at the 36-minute mark now. Let me just see here. All right, so I guess we'll move on to the wrestling wrap-up. As last night's Raw did see some interesting things come to pass. Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green are the new, Raw Women's or Unified Women's Tag Team Champions as they defeated Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan for the belts. Now, as such, apparently, from what I understand, Rhea Ripley interfered in the match, and it looks like WWE may be using this to set up the match between Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez at SummerSlam for the Raw, I guess for all intent and purposes, the Raw Women's Championship. So even though I don't know if any of the matches have officially been announced, but the matches that they're looking at, the possible matches they're looking to sign for, they're working to sign for SummerSlam this year, which are of course coming up on August 5th. Now, mind you, these have not been confirmed yet. This is just from what I've been hearing, what the speculation is. So they've got, of course, Cody versus Brock Lesnar in the rubber match of their series of matches. And there has been talk about making it a type of gimmick match. Notably, most likely right now, they've been pitching the idea of possibly doing a Texas bull rope match, which was, of course, a match that Cody's father, Dusty, was well known for. For those of you who don't know what a Texas bull rope match, much like a Russian chain match or an Indian strap match, you got two guys who are basically bound together, in this case by a Texas bull rope, with, of course, a cowbell tied to the center of it. The idea of the match is to incapacitate your opponent to the point to where you can drag them around the ring and touch all four corners consecutively. If the momentum gets broken, then, of course, the process starts over. And, of course, during the match, you can obviously use the rope or the cowbell in any way you see fit to, again, try to incapacitate your opponent. Other matches that are looking to be, as we mentioned earlier, one match that's being worked to be signed is Rhea Ripley defending the Raw Women's Championship against Raquel Rodriguez. The SmackDown Women's title, they're looking to possibly set that up where Asuka will be defending the title against Charlotte Flair and Bianca Belair. Also, another match that there's been some talk about is Jey Uso taking on Roman Reigns for the for the Universal Heavyweight Champion, WWE Universal Heavyweight Championship. So, and in other WWE news now, there is a feeler being put out there that WWE is looking possibly to sign Nick Aldis, who recently left Impact, mind you. Looking to sign the 6'4", 264-pound wrestler in as a the 36-year-old 6'4", 36-year-old wrestler to a producer's contract. They want to have him as an agent / producer, not necessarily. Of course, as they've been talking with WWE right now being just so overloaded with talent to begin with, that's why they probably would prefer to have him, considering that he's been kind of has the producer producer experience as he during his time with NWA. He got to the point where he was booking a lot of his own stuff, mind you. But so with that, so now moving on to AEW news. Moving on to some AEW news. Of course, tomorrow night is Dynamite, and of course we do have, I believe, a couple of matches already planned for it. I know Blood and Guts will be going on, in which 3 members of the Blackpool Combat Club, Ring of Honor World Champion Claudio Castagnoli, John Moxley, Wheeler Yuta will be teaming up with Konosuke Takeshita and Konosuke Takeshita and Pac did take on 3 members of the Elite, the Golden Elite, as they call themselves. Adam Page, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, and Kota Ibushi. Also in the finals of the Blind Eliminator Tag Team Tournament, with the winner getting a shot at FTR, Adam Cole and MJF will be taking on the Jericho Appreciation Society members of Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara. And then for the FTW title, Hook will be defending the FTW title against Jack Perry. So that's what's going on in AEW right now, or getting set for tomorrow night. Also, now we're gonna go over some news from Ring of Honor. As I mentioned earlier, this Friday, Ring of Honor will be holding its Death Before Dishonor pay-per-view, and it was already previously announced that Claudio Castagnoli will be defending the world title there, and Samoa Joe, I believe, will be defending the TV title there. Their opponents has as of yet been announced, though. So we will. All right, so here are the matches thus far announced for Death Before Dishonor this Friday. For the Ring of Honor, there's a 4-way match for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team title. The champion Lucha Brothers, Penta El Zero Miedo and Rey Fenix. Rey Fenix had recently announced that he had left AAA to focus more on his American commitments. They will be defending the titles against the best friends of Trent Beretta and Chuck Taylor, the Kingdom of Mike Bennett and Matt Taven, and the duo of Aussie Open of Mark Davis and Kyle Fletcher. Athena will be defending the Ring of Honor Women's World title against Willow Nightingale. 2 of them had recently squared off in the Owen Hart tournament, in which Willow had defeated Athena in the semifinals to move on to the finals to defeat. So you have the current Ring of Honor World Champion will be defending World Women's Champion will be defending the women's title against Willow Nightingale, who has some momentum going against Athena. even though they have met in the past, and Tina did have a successful title defense against Willow a while back. We'll see where things go from here. For the pure title, Katsuyori Shibata will be taking on Daniel Garcia. Daniel Garcia, a former pure champion, looking to get the title back. Of course, a pure title, pure rules meaning you can't hit with a fist. First off, you only get a certain number of rope breaks. So if you get locked in submission, you get three rope breaks once you use them up. If a guy's got you in a submission hold and you try to use another one beyond that, the guy can hold on the submission until you either escape it or tap. Samoa Joe will be defending the World Television title against Dalton Castle, and then Claudio Castagnoli will be defending the Ring of Honor World title against an opponent still to be named. So, hey, Rick. So, yeah, we're wrapping up here. We're getting ready to wrap up here. You can like and share the thing if you haven't already. That'd be appreciated. We get some more eyes on this. Anyways, so now we got through all the wrestling wrap up here. So now we're gonna go ahead and, with today being Tuesday, July 18th, 2023, let's take a look back at this day in each history. So let's see, 63, 2013, 1998, and 1973. Okay, so without any further ado, let's take a look back at this day in each history. First off, we're going to head back 60 years ago. And on this date, 60 years ago today, the fifth issue of the Jetsons from Gold Key Comics went on sale on this date back 60 years ago today. Sold for 12 cents for 32 pages. This is at a time where Gold Key had taken over a lot of the Dell titles, and we're still continuing the idea of doing the comic book adaptations of licensed material, licensed IP from other medium. You notice here now. Here's an interesting thing I saw when I pulled this up today. Look at Jane right there. They got her in the comics painted as blonde. Of course, if you guys remember the cartoon, Jane was a redhead. I know people would ask a lot of times, well, you have George and Jane who are redheads, and yet Elroy's a blonde and Judy's a platinum blonde. How is that possible? Don't know what to tell you on that one, but that might have just been the thing they were just featuring Rosie the Robot. So on this date, like I said, 60 years ago today, the fifth issue of the Jetsons from Gold Key Comics went on sale, featuring Rosie the Robot. So here we go there. Now moving ahead to 1973. On this day in 1973, as soon as I can grab it here, that'd be, of course, 40 years ago today. On this date, 40 years ago today, Toei Animation and Dynamic Productions' Mazinger Z vs. Devilman premiered in Japanese theaters on this date 40 years ago today. Mazinger Z vs. Devilman is a 1973 animated movie that crossed over two then popular anime series, both of which were created by manga artist Go Nagai. Note, however, the movie features alternate versions of events from both series and is therefore not canonical to either one. So this is just an independent movie they decided to do. Mazinger Z versus Devilman, with the two franchises at the time were very popular. I believe they were both mecha series. Yeah. So on this date, 40 years ago today, Mazinger Z versus Devilman premiered in Japanese theaters. So now moving on to the next piece of niche history here. On this date, 25 years ago today, Saban Entertainment's Bad Dog premiered on Teletoon in Canada and Fox Family Channel here in the States. So on this date, 25 years ago today, in 1998, Bad Dog, animated series produced by Cine Group and Saban Entertainment, premiered on Teletoon and Fox Family Channel. So there we go with that one. And finally, and I pull it up here. On this date, 10 years ago today, this date back in 2013, Total Nonstop Action had their Impact Wrestling event from the Broadbent Arena in Louisville, Kentucky. This event was taped earlier in the day. It was a Destination X event, and of course, focused in on the X Division. X Division was always kind of a junior heavyweight cruiserweight division, but not. The common tagline of it was not about weight limits; it's about no limits. In other words, it was focused more on the style of like the junior heavyweight, cruiserweight, light heavyweight divisions of the time. With a lot of the athleticism, high flying, all that. But even guys like Samoa Joe, who are close to 300 pounds, could also compete in the division. The main event saw Chris Sabin defeat Bully Ray for the TNA World Heavyweight title. In a match that was set up with Chris Sabin, exercising option C, which was a practice they started back then, in which if you were an X Division championship, you could vacate the title in order to cash in to get a shot at the World Heavyweight title. You also had on the night, with of course the previous week, Chris Sabin vacating the X Division title. You had to set up a tournament for that, and the qualifying matches for that tournament were as followed. Sanjay Dutt defeated Homicide and Petey Williams in a qualifying three-way match. Manic defeated Chavo Guerrero, who you know better as Chavo Guerrero Jr. and Kenny King, in a qualifying three-way match. And Greg Marasculiolo would defeat Rockstar Spud and Rubix in a qualifying. And I believe Greg Marasculio, which I think that might be Trent Beretta. The guy we know today is Trent Beretta, I believe. That's who it is, Trent Beretta. That's his real name. But so advancing, I guess, to a three-way match for the title are Sanjay Dutt, Manic, and Greg Marasculio. Now Manic is T.J. Perkins, who was previously portraying Suicide. It was discovered that a Suicide had recently won back the X Division title from Chris Sabin, but was forced to unmask because it was discovered that it wasn't the person who was not T.J. Perkins portraying him. It ended up being Austin Idol. I forgot that again, didn't I? Anyways, Austin Aries, also in a Bound for Glory series match, defeated Bobby Roode, earning up to 14 points. So with that, that piece in each history. Thank everybody for being here tonight. I hope everybody liked the show and got a lot out of it. Don't forget, we'll be back here tomorrow night with more niche news. I do appreciate all the likes and the shares and stuff. Hopefully, we can get more people in during the show to comment like we did last night. And don't forget, this Friday, of course, I'll have RJ Carter with me as we'll be looking back to November 1939, looking at comics that went on sale from Centaur Comics and David McKay. With that, I thank everybody for being here, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.